Set back tonight for Donald Trump's travel ban.
A federal judge ruled it's unconstitutional, and late tonight, Customs and Border Patrol told airlines around the world the U.S. will accept all passengers who have valid travel documents. KCAL 9 political reporter Dave Bryan joins us now with a look at the fallout from this court ruling. Dave?
Yeah, needless to say, this is not the kind of surprise a new administration wants to be facing. It was the Friday night surprise, and the Trump administration never saw it coming. A federal judge brings one of President Trump's most important executive orders, a temporary ban on travelers from 7 Muslim-majority nations, to a screeching halt. But the court fight has just begun. At week's end, the battle lines have been drawn Friday night in the fierce court fight over President Trump's executive order travel ban. Firing first was a federal judge in Seattle who issued a temporary restraining order stopping implementation of the travel ban nationwide. The lawsuit was brought by the Attorney General of Washington State.
Judge Robart's decision, effective immediately, effective now, puts a halt to President Trump's unconstitutional and unlawful executive order. I want to repeat that. It puts a stop to it immediately.
In his decision, the judge wrote, "The states have met their burden of demonstrating that they face immediate and irreparable injury as a result of the signing and implementation of the executive order. The executive order adversely affects the state's residents in areas of employment, education, business, family relations, and freedom to travel." But this is just the opening salvo in what could be a protracted legal battle. Friday night, the White House posted this statement on Facebook. At the earliest possible time, the Department of Justice intends to file an emergency stay of this outrageous order and defend the executive order of the president, which we believe is lawful and appropriate. A few minutes later, the word outrageous was removed from the statement. Trump supporters are optimistic the president will prevail.
We give the president tremendous authority to regulate who comes in the country, and that's why I think once we do have these appeals, even if it goes to the Supreme Court, the president's action will stand.
Harvard Law Professor Emeritus Alan Dershowitz, a defender of civil liberties, told CNN this case could trigger chaos in the courts.
Imagine the following situation. The Ninth Circuit hypothetically upholds this ruling. The First Circuit hypothetically upholds the ruling the opposite way, and the Supreme Court affirms both rulings 4-4. We have no decision. We have conflict. We have chaos. That could happen.
Okay.
The executive order in question would temporarily ban citizens from 7 Muslim-majority countries from entering the U.S. The Friday ruling means people from the countries on the list can enter the U.S. with proper paperwork. The president of the California State Senate hailed the court action in an interview Friday night.
I think it's good news. I think it's positive news. I think the majority of Californians are appalled at this ban because it singles out Muslims in particular from these 7 nations. This temporary ban is quite un-American. It's not who we are as a nation, and especially not who we are as a state.
Well, today's ruling is just the latest in a series of lawsuit rulings on this issue. And just today, another judge in Boston refused to extend a restraining order on the same executive order, allowing the order to be carried out. That's why some legal experts say if both rulings go to the Supreme Court, they could both wind up in 4-4 rulings and with opposite conclusions. Yes, the order can go forward, but no, it can't go forward. Jeff?
Yeah, there's a lot there, of course. And so what impact, if any, is this going to be on the Trump administration, you think?
Well, it's having some impact because while, it's not entirely surprising, the ruling is still a major blow to President Trump, whose 2 weeks have been dedicated to rushing forward with his initiatives on the fast track, including the travel ban. Now, even if the government wins a stay on the temporary restraining order, the case could still be tied up in federal courts for weeks, months, or even longer. And confusion and conflicting rulings is definitely not what a president wants for one of his defining issues only 2 weeks into his administration. Lena?